Hi everyone, and welcome to our short yoga burst practice today, yoga for the feet and toes. We're going to start today's class in a toe sit, so coming up onto your knees, tucking the toes under and resting down onto your heels. Closing down the eyes and take a few deep breaths here, breathing in and out through the nose and bringing your awareness onto your mat as we focus on our feet today. Going to start doing some really nice arm circles now. So circling the arms overhead, interlacing the fingers, palms face up towards the sky, and then bend forward, projecting those palms out in front of you. Bring the arms around behind you, interlacing them behind the back, project the chest forward and lean on forward. Coming back up and releasing. We'll do that another few times. So arms overhead, interlacing and bending forward. Bring those arms back behind you. Clasp the hands behind your back, chest projects forward, and then we bend on over with the arms following. Gorgeous. One more cycle of that here. Hopefully this arm movement is distracting you from the sensation in your toes as a result of this toe sit. Beautiful. And coming back into a neutral position there, resting the hands on the knees if you'd like. Once again, a few beautiful deep breaths in and out, really starting to welcome any sensation that's coming into the feet and the toes. This is a great one to do if we are sitting a lot or wearing high heels. We're not really getting as much chance to walk barefoot as we'd like. Great asana to practice as frequently as possible, really, to bring some love into the toes and into the feet. Okay, one more nice big arm circle here, and bringing those arms down through Anjali Mudra at the center of the heart, just setting the intention to really focus on yourself throughout this practice today. Beautiful. Okay, coming off those toes now, and if it feels good for you, tapping the top of the feet a few times onto the mat just to bring back some more sensation there. We're actually now going to come into some myofascial release. So if you have your yoga ball or even a tennis ball handy, place that on the mat. I'm going to start with the right foot. I'm going to find a really nice pressure point spot on the outside edge of the right foot. Bend through the left, so your body weight is actually helping to bring that pressure in to the outside edge of the right foot here, and hopefully getting a really nice myofascial release. So if you need to move that ball around, find another place a bit further up or down on that outside edge of that foot, feel free to do that, or you might like to stay really static there. Okay, we're going to come into the center of that right foot now, so readjusting, same principle, but more into the center of the ball of the foot here, and using that body weight, bending through the left foot to get that pressure and hopefully some really nice release. I'm moving through these quite quickly today, but you can use this even if you're sitting at your desk, any time of the day or night really, to really try and get some nice release through the feet. Okay, coming onto the outside edge, or the inner edge of your right foot here. As I mentioned, a tennis ball, any sort of ball, a yoga massage ball is ideal, but any sort of similar object will really help to gain that release. Okay, now we're going to, as my teacher Vicky calls it, scribble over the ball. So we're just going back and forth with the foot over the ball along the mat. Almost like you're drawing lines or circles on the mat there. And really just feel that, bringing that nice warmth and sensation into your right foot. Balancing with the hands on the hips. Okay, we're going to do all of that on the other side now. So transferring over to the left foot. Once again, starting with the inner arch. Now, in many cultures and medical practices, the feet are actually seen as reflective of the overall health of the body. It's really important that we give some time and some energy into treating the feet. They literally carry us wherever we go, and the whole weight of our body is obviously being really supported through the feet. So it's really, really critical that we give them some of the attention that they deserve, moving that ball into the middle of the foot if you haven't already done so here. Also, injuries or imbalances or tightness in the feet can actually be the cause of imbalances or postural issues, alignment issues elsewhere in the body if they're not addressed. So it's not just about treating the feet, but the effect that they can have on the rest of your body. So you should be on the outside edge now of that left foot. Once again, this is something you could spend a good 10 minutes or so on if you had time later. So hopefully learning this technique will be helpful. We're going to do that scribbling action. I do like that term that my teacher Vicky from Peacock Dreaming Yoga uses. I think it's really, really nice to have that visual. So really scribble that ball along the mat and feeling the release. Okay, bend through the feet. Any movements you need to make, pop that ball over to one side for me. And when you're ready, coming up to the top of your mat into a Tadasana pose. So Tadasana is really the center of all of our alignment cues. So take a moment here to feel those 4 points of each foot grounding down into the earth. You might like to fan the toes up and then draw the energy up through the legs, checking the alignment of the pelvis, resting the arms down beside you. Check that your chin is nicely aligned. You may want to employ a little Jalandhara Bandha there just to create that nice length through the entirety of the spine. A couple of deep breaths here, but really bringing your attention onto the feet. So can you feel where the feet and the toes are touching the earth? Okay, a nice big arm circle here. Bring the hands down through Anjali Mudra at the center of the heart. You're going to really ground down through the left foot here before reaching the right knee up towards you. And then some forward and back flex and point motions with your right foot here. Just bring some movement in there. So once you've done about 6 or so of those, start to do some circles around, 3 in one direction, maybe 3 in another direction, before stepping back into a crescent lunge. So you'll notice the back toes are tucked under here, and you're in your beautiful crescent lunge, arms overhead. Lower that knee down towards the earth without touching and come back up. Once more, we're lowering that knee down towards the earth and coming back up, and you should feel this lovely stretch through the toes here as well. Once we've done 3 of those, we're going to open out into a warrior 1 stance, but clasping those arms behind you. Chest projects forward and we bend on forward into humble warrior, making sure our right hip and butt cheek is coming into the center line and really grounding down through the outside edge of that back foot, so and the side of the foot there. Use that as your anchor point here. When you're ready, coming back up, we're going to come on into a crescent lunge once more, so pivoting as you need there, and very slowly start to lower that right knee onto the earth, untucking the back foot and feeling the top of the foot rest onto the mat. Coming into a nice low lunge here, so you might like to come right down onto your forearms, or you might like to take it quite restorative today and just remain up on your hands like I am. But try and bring that awareness into the big toe of the front foot of the left foot, pressing down, and into the back of the back foot. Okay, once again, coming up onto the right foot and stepping forward to the front of the mat into Malasana Yogic Squat. So really feel this pose gain strength through the ankle joints here before coming back up into a standing position, I should say, arm circles overhead and Anjali Mudra through the center of the heart. Beautiful. We're going to repeat on the other side. So left knee draws up into the chest, and we continue with those flexing and pointing motions of the left foot this time, and some anti-clockwise and clockwise circles with that foot. Great. When you're ready, stepping back into crescent lunge with the left foot back and slowly starting to lower the knee just above the mat before coming back up, lowering down, really undertaking these beautiful pulses here, but keeping the focus and on the sensation that this is bringing into the back toes as well. Okay, coming into a warrior 1 feet position, clasping the hands behind us and coming down into humble warrior. Once again, can you ground through the big toe of the front foot, whilst really being aware of the back edge of the back foot anchoring you down into the earth. Beautiful. On your exhale, you're going to start to slowly come back up into a standing position, pivoting over into a crescent lunge once more, and lowering the left knee down to the earth, untucking the back toes, stepping the right foot out a little bit further into a nice wide low lunge here. As I said, you might like to come further down onto your forearms if that feels good for you, or you can stay up here. A few beautiful deep breaths here. Continuing to be aware of all of those parts of our feet and toes that are touching the mat. Tucking the back toes under this time, coming up into a lunge and stepping forward into our Malasana yogic squat. Use those elbows to press out onto the knees and the legs, and those hands in Anjali Mudra at the center of the heart. Okay, on your next exhale, coming up into a standing position, finding Tadasana and another big arm circle here. Beautiful. Let's repeat and slowly start to add on a little bit here. So our lovely pointing and flexing of the foot before doing some really nice circles as well. Obviously this is just bringing some motion and lubrication into the ankle joint. When you're ready, stepping back into a crescent lunge, once again keeping those back toes tucked under, reaching the arms up towards the sky, and 3 pulses here with the knee lowering down to the earth. Beautiful. After your last one, stepping out into warrior one leg position, clasping those hands and coming forward into a beautiful humble warrior pose. Once again, those lovely reminders to anchor in through the front big toe and really ground down through the outside edge of the back foot. Coming back up when you're ready, pivoting over into a lovely crescent lunge, reaching up and slowly lowering down to the earth here. Okay, we're going to come into a low lunge Anjaneyasana here with cactus arms. So project that chest up towards the sky, feel that beautiful opening through the thoracic, and come on forward now, once again into a sort of low lizard lunge here, but this time pivot that left foot, front foot out, but come onto the side of that foot and use your left hand to press the left leg out to the side just to open up through the hip a little bit more there. Beautiful, lovely big inhale and exhale, popping up onto the back foot and stepping forward once again into that lovely Malasana pose, grounding down through the feet and building that strength in our ankles as well. Going to rest the left hand down, stretch that right arm up to the sky, and repeat on the other side. Beautiful. Hands back into Anjali Mudra now and stepping back up. You guessed it, to Tadasana, arm circles overhead, Anjali Mudra at the center of the heart, and repeating on the other side. So left knee draws in and we continue with that lovely point and flex motion and also our circles. Stepping back into our crescent lunge and then coming into our pulses here. So really feel that strength but also that release coming in to the whole foot, toe and ankle region of the body here. Warrior one, feet, clasp those hands behind your back, project the chest forward and coming on into the humble warrior, making sure that we're not splaying our hips out to the side here, but everything's drawing really nicely into the center line. Really nice, beautiful, deep breath in here, and on your exhale, coming up into standing, once again into a crescent lunge before we lower really slowly down to the earth. Untuck that back foot, Anjaneyasana with beautiful cactus arms, chest projects out towards the sky in front of us, coming back down now onto the earth, slightly wiggling that right foot out to the side here before we use our right arm, or our right palm I should say, to come onto the side edge of that right foot. Really feel that side edge this time going down into the mat opening up through the hip here. When you're ready, popping up onto the back toes, stepping forward once again into Malasana yogic squat, really building that lovely strength through the ankles. Going to open up to the side again, right arm comes up and forward to the sky, ground that one down and twisting over to the other side. Beautiful Anjali Mudra at the heart and coming back up into Tadasana. Fantastic. Beautiful arm circle overhead. I'm going to add on one more time here. So bringing that right knee up towards the chest when you're ready. Pointing and flexing. Using the core there to stabilize as you're standing. Nice and still here. Stepping back into our crescent lunge. Arm circles overhead and we're coming into our pulses. It's amazing when we put a focus on one area of the body, how we might notice things we haven't previously been aware of. Out into Warrior One, legs here. And coming forward into our humble warrior. I think we often are not really placing emphasis in our mind on our feet and our toes. So observe what happens when you really place your attention here. Often we say in yoga where attention goes, energy flows. So let's see the goodness that can bring today. Back into Warrior One, legs here. And we're going to open up into a Warrior Two. So arms extend out and we flip back into a reverse warrior. Back into our Warrior Two. Coming back into crescent lunge pose. Beautiful. And once again, slowly lowering that knee down to the earth. Anjaneyasana with our cactus arms. And we're coming forward into our side opening lunge position here. Beautiful. Popping up on to the back foot, toes I should say, before we step forward into Malasana. Beautiful Malasana that opens up through the hips but actually is bringing a lot of goodness into the feet and ankle region. Twisting to either side briefly here before we're coming up into our Tadasana. Gorgeous. Arm circle overhead, back to Anjali Mudra at the center of the heart, and we rise that left knee up in towards the chest. Flexing and pointing and our lovely circles, and stepping back into our crescent lunge. Beautiful. Make sure the front foot is grounded really deeply and you can get a lot of balance through really being aware of pressing down through that front big toe. Going into our last pulse here. Coming into our Warrior One, legs now. Clasp those arms behind you and coming into your humble warrior pose. Really releasing through the neck here as well. Letting go. And taking a moment to relax in your humble warrior. Beautiful. Nice big inhale on your exhale, coming up into Warrior One here. Opening up into a standard Warrior Two. Before we flip it and reverse it back into reverse warrior. Lovely. Warrior Two once more, and then pivot on that back foot. Don't lose your balance like I did. Into our crescent lunge. Beautifully lowering it back down. Anjaneyasana with our cactus arms. And coming down into that low hip opening lunge here with the front foot, edge of the front foot, side of the front foot I should say, resting down into the mat. Really feel that connection. Beautiful. Once again, popping on up and stepping forward into our Malasana yogic squat. Once more. Beautiful. Left arm rests down. We extend the right arm up to the sky and switching sides. Beautiful. Pressing down into the feet as we rise on up to standing. One beautiful big arm circle here into Tadasana, and taking a moment to once again check in with our alignment in Tadasana or mountain pose. I'm going to come back down now onto the earth into a modified hero's pose. So resting the tops of the feet down, the knees slightly wide so you can bring your seat down onto the mat in between your feet. You might like to stay here, palms pressing down and your chest projecting up, or you might like to come on down onto your elbows and forearms here, resting down. It's really nice actually, now that we're bringing a focus on the feet and toes in this class, to grab onto a point in your feet that might be a bit sore. You can give yourself a lovely little pressure point release or foot massage here whilst you're doing your asana, a bit of multitasking. If it feels comfortable to you, you're welcome to release the head and neck back, but if there's any discomfort whatsoever, just stay with it up in a neutral forward-facing position. You might like to change where you're pressing in with your thumbs or fingers into your feet now. Get a little bit more of a release through another part of the foot. On your next exhale, if you've got your head resting back, bring it back into the neutral position before we come on up onto our hands. A little bit of a stretch out through the chest and the thoracic there before coming up onto hands and knees. Tap out the tops of the foot onto the feet, onto the mat. And once again, back into a nice toe sit, just with a really lovely arm circle. Well, let's move through that sequence that we did at the beginning again once. So moving forward now with the arms clasped. Seeing if you can feel any difference in any of these movements from what you might have felt like at the start. All right, coming down now into a 4-point position. We're going to do some cat-cow now, but with our toes tucked under, and if it's comfortable, your palms and fingers facing back, I should say. So you're getting that lovely wrist stretch as well. So inhaling into your cow, and that stomach drops down to the earth, and as you exhale, you're pressing up through the thoracic into your cat shape. Really getting that lovely mobility through the spine as you inhale into your cow, exhale up into your cat. Feeling that stretch through the wrist and the toes as well here. And just enjoy this beautiful, probably for most of us, familiar movement. Lovely. When you're ready, make your way slowly down onto your seat. We're going to come into a butterfly pose here. So bring those ankles and heels quite close into your body. I'm going to grab the toes here and sort of fan them out almost like the pages of a book, just to get that extra little bit of love coming into the toes. So position your hands in a way that makes that comfortable. You might like to once again dig your elbows into your knees, or not your knees, but your upper thighs, lower thighs I should say, goodness, and really try and get that traction. Some nice big deep breaths here as we slow it all right down once more, and freestyle it a bit with how you're using your fingers to stretch out through the toes. So perhaps you need to press into one particular point, or perhaps it's just a really nice stretch as you fan those toes out, giving them a little bit of mobility as well. Beautiful. Some really nice breaths here as we slowly start to make our way out of this pose and down onto the earth. I'm going to take one final pose before Shavasana here, an inversion happy baby. So reach up, grab the outside edges of your feet, and almost try and act as if you were going to plant the footprint of your feet onto the ceiling above you. Make sure you're relaxing down through the arms, through the neck, through the shoulders here, and enjoy this lovely short inversion in happy baby pose, Ananda Balasana. Lovely. A lovely moment to reflect on all of that nice work we've done with our feet today. Coming into a little circle here, a little egg of the universe, curling in, giving yourself a hug before making your way down into Shavasana. So let those feet splay out to the side, rest the arms beside you. This is just a short Shavasana today, so you're more than welcome to pause the video, take a little bit longer, even build in a really nice meditation as well, if you would like. As you are resting in your Shavasana, acknowledge if there's any difference in the sensations that you might feel in your feet and your toes after a little short yoga burst practice today. And acknowledge all of the work that your toes and your feet do for you, carrying you everywhere you go throughout your day. Also acknowledge yourself for giving yourself the time to create some space and some stretch and some release into this part of the body. All right, let's stretch the arms overhead and let's once again flex and point through the feet and the toes here as we rest back beautifully along the mat. When you're ready, make your way over onto your side, whatever side feels nice for you. Taking a moment to let everything integrate there. Coming up once more into your toe sit. And thank you for practicing with me today. I hope your toes and your feet can feel the love that you've given them in this practice. And I really look forward to practicing with you again soon.